Hello friends. Mary Lou Palos, a 42-year-old California mom, was home alone with her daughters on a Tuesday night when a man on a crime spree ran up to her house in Lake Forest and smashed the back sliding glass door. The intruder proceeded to grab a kitchen knife, and Mary Lou immediately feared for her life. But her thoughts quickly went to her daughters who were down the hall. The brave mom decided to risk her own well-being for her children. He looked very angry, Mary Lou recalled, according to NBC Los Angeles. He had the face of a devil, she added. And according to police, Mary Lou had every reason to be afraid. The suspect, later identified as 24-year-old James Carlos Melendez, had already gone on a wild 9-minute rampage Tuesday that involved carjacking a BMW, running into a pedestrian, and then crashing into another vehicle, the Sacramento Bee reported. With both of her daughters, aged 13 and 15, inside the home and convinced their lives were in danger, Mary Lou Palos decided that her best course of action to keep her children safe was to lure the intruder away before he could harm her girls. That's when the heroic mom took off running out of the house, tearing down the street, and into the surrounding neighborhood, hoping the suspect would follow her as she desperately screamed for help. And it worked, but it came at a hefty cost. I started running as fast as I could because I wanted to get him out of the house because of my kids, Mary Lou explained. I didn't want them to be hurt. I was in the bathroom and my sister was in her room, 15-year-old Evelyn Palos said, recalling the frightening moments before her mom, fearing for her children, sprinted outside as the knife-wielding man ran after her. That's just when I heard glass fall, and Melendez went to the kitchen and grabbed a knife, she added. Surveillance camera video from a nearby house captured what happened next. In the surveillance footage, Mary Lou Palos is seen running from the house and through the neighborhood, desperately screaming "help" as she makes her way down the street with the crazy attacker chasing after her, wielding the knife. As Melendez runs after the frightened mother, her pace begins to slow as she runs out of sight. I couldn't run anymore, Mary Lou recalled. I said, I'm going to go to the sidewalk and fight this man. I have no choice. So I did that, she added. Sadly, Melendez eventually caught up with her. Although the attack wasn't captured on camera, Mary Lou Palos has the scars to prove what followed. After catching up with the heroic mother in the streets, Melendez stabbed Mary Lou about 20 times, around the face, neck, and upper body, according to police. Thankfully, she lived to tell about it. I was thinking of my girls and my first thought was, get them out of the house, Mary Lou Palos explained, recalling what motivated her to take off on foot. Fortunately, Mary Lou's neighbors heard her pleas and stepped in to confront the man, who then took off. Although she was covered in deep cuts, held together with staples after the attack, Mary Lou survived. But even as she lay bleeding on the street with over 20 stab wounds, all she could think of was her children. I kept telling them, somebody please go and see how my kids are doing. Somebody please go. Tell them I'm going to be okay, she recalled, according to Inside Edition. I felt that I was going to enter another place, Mary Lou Palos said, recalling her thoughts as she was being brutally and repeatedly stabbed. But I said, no, please no, don't take me. I have my kids, my husband. Give me a second chance because they need me, the mom added. Her prayers were seemingly answered. Mary Lou Palos has since been hailed as a hero, with her 13-year-old daughter Elizabeth crediting her brave mom for saving her and her sister's life. That's an awesome thing. My mom is the best, Elizabeth said, praising her mom. I love her so much. I'm grateful to have a mom like that, the teen added. Her dad, Enrique Palos, agreed, calling his wife a hero, as she recovered in the hospital. James Carlos Melendez allegedly continued on his spree and attempted to break into a home and carjack others before he was stopped by a passerby who pepper sprayed him. He was arrested and charged with attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, aggravated mayhem, and burglary, among other charges. He was ordered held on a $2 million bail. Meanwhile, Mary Lou Palos was facing a long road to recovery, which she said she'll rely on faith and prayer to get her through. It's going to be hard, but I have faith I can do it because if I was able to fight for my life and my kids' life, I can fight, she said. This is nothing compared to what I went through. While we love a story with a mostly happy ending, we would be doing a disservice not to point out a valuable lesson that can be learned here. When danger comes knocking, or rather smashing down your door, you have two choices, fight or flight. Because she was unarmed and no match for a man with a knife, Mary Lou Palos was forced to choose the latter until she ran out of steam. Then she had to fight a knife-wielding attacker with her bare hands, leaving her with over 20 stab wounds and battling for her life. In contrast, another heroic California mother was able to protect herself and her children without anyone sustaining injury for the simple reason that she was armed. When an intruder entered Brittany Moore's home, she didn't run, she pulled out a gun, and the story ended much differently, with everyone unharmed. And that's just one example. Again and again, the Second Amendment proves invaluable when it comes to protecting oneself, loved ones, and property.